yes, you could from doing that rocking, rock your way all the way over onto one side and have a couple of breaths on your side. And I was just going to say, if you're here, I haven't put any water out, but you're right, if you want any water, just let me know. People have sort of brought water bottles. Yeah, water bottles seems to be the thing now. So from your side, high out, we're going to make our way over into standing. So just in a way that's easy and comfortable. Possibly removing your socks. I cannot believe I'm saying this on the 21st of May now. Removing the socks. So, Sarah, so I think it's that dog pose completely out.
I can do a very short lived and short dog.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so, yeah. So, okay, because we'll be doing a little bit of going through some sequences.
I might have to go into the child.
That's fine. We'll just whatever works. Well, it's sort of good to know that moving is what you need to do, even if it's not so comfortable. So in standing, we're going to start by this one, swinging our arms to make sure, yes, you make the most of the space. So Sarah, if you need to move, one of you needs to move forwards. Maybe both of you at the moment. So Hilary, very nice to see you. We're starting in standing. Lovely to see you. Swinging our arms and just using this to have a sense of how do your shoulders feel. So if you arrived a little bit early and you were able to do some lying down things, the shoulders might feel a bit more comfortable. Anyone else? Well, Sarah, I'm with you. My shoulders have been very stiff. And do yours feel?
Yeah, mine feel quite tight.
Yeah. Do you think it's sort of related to the back then? Just life in general.
I think so.
Yeah. Good. Okay, couple more times, swinging your arms. You can slap your arms onto the side of your body and then just let that go and settle down. And we're going to come to a little bit more working into one arm. But what I'd like you to do perhaps, and so Sarah, it's really obvious for you, but I'd like you to start with your easier arm first, easier arm and shoulder. So perhaps close your eyes and maybe do a little bit of swaying from side to side. And as you're doing so, take your attention into your shoulders and arms and see how they feel. And it might be that obviously one is more comfortable than the other. And you're going to choose to work on the easier arm first. So taking that easier arm, you're then going to start to do a big circle with your arm and you're going to let your pelvis move. Yeah? That's it. Yeah, so Sarah, particularly really think about letting your pelvis move. And you're going to circle in both ways. So if you've been going one way, then go back the other way. That's nice. And we're going to do this on both arms. So perhaps we'll do both arms a couple of times. So you could come on to the second arm now. So Sarah, it might be that it's it's a much smaller circle. Yeah. So it could be even like this sort of, that sort of thing. Yeah. So again, on side two, what's possible, what's available, going in both directions and letting your pelvis move. So that's the other thing I would say. So even if you're doing a small movement, yeah, let your pelvis move. And then we're going to repeat this on both sides again. So just not too much, but just go back to your first side and do a couple of circles in each direction. Good. And then you can revisit it on your less comfortable side, do a couple of circles in each direction. Good. Very nice. And then we'll let that go and we'll come into a forward bend. So if you organise yourself so your feet are a little distance apart, your feet are side by side. And then how does it feel? You can go forwards. How does it feel? Maybe elbows onto your thighs. You might want to have a couple of breaths there. Or releasing your arms to the ground. And if you release your arms to the ground, yeah, nice with the head, Alison. If you release your arms to the ground, just try and let the arms be really soft. They might want to move around a little bit. Sometimes each arm can sort of circle a bit in its own circle. But whatever you feel you want to do in your forward bend. Good. A cycle of breath. And then on your next exhalation, you're going to roll back into standing, or Tracy, walk your hands up the fronts of your legs. So coming back up into standing. And then we're going to, Sarah, you might want to turn around because we're going to swing our arms out to the sides and cross them in front of us. But as you've turned around on your back, make sure you bring your feet back to me.
I always do that.
It's really weird, isn't it? Yeah,
Automatic.
it is automatic. Good. So crossing your arms in front of you. Good. And then from here, you're going to swing your arms all the way up and drop your shoulders down away from your ears, and just see how it feels to have the arms up. It's not always the most comfortable, yes, just one arm up, Sarah, for you. And then release the arms, swing them a little bit. And we're going to come back to taking the arms up. And this time, do a bit of reaching into one arm. So Sarah, it's just going to be reaching into one arm and then stopping reaching. So from side to side, reach up into one arm, reach up into the other. And if you like, you can do the variation where you catch your hand around your wrist. Obviously not for you, Sarah. Catch your hand around your wrist and draw yourself up and over. And I'm shifting my weight into my reaching side to feel really long through that side. That's nice. So just, these sort of movements where we're just finding a bit of length on Friday morning. And then we can go all the way back down into a forward bend. Let the head go. Let the arms go. Otto, on your bed. Not doing very well. Good. Let the head go, let the arms go. And again, whatever it is you want to do with your arms when you're in your forward bend. So it might be your elbows on your thighs. It might be letting your arms hang. And then in your own time, sinking into your heels, rolling up into standing, or walking your hands up your legs. And maybe just have a little shake out of your feet. That's nice. And your arms, whatever you want to shake out. Good. And then settle your feet down and have a look at your feet. We're going to come into a balance in a moment. So just start by looking at your feet and then stop looking at your feet. You could even close your eyes and do a little bit of swaying from side to side. So this time we're swaying from side to side so that we can see how our weight feels over each leg, because you're going to decide which foot you'd like to stand on. So a couple more times. Let your weight rock over your right leg and foot. Let your leg rock over your left leg and foot. Good. Okay. So whichever foot you're going to stand on, you're going to open your eyes now. Whichever foot you're going to stand on, you're going to start to transfer your weight onto that foot, and you're going to take that arm up. And Sarah, if it's okay, it's that side. Good. So you've got your arm up, the other arm's heavy and relaxed. Let the heel come off the floor of the foot you're not standing on. And then just let that foot come up, 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 so we can catch the top of our foot or our trouser leg. Good. And then let your hand come down onto your breastbone. Good. I'm just letting someone in. So yes, a couple of quiet breaths here in this standing balance. So Kate, hello, we're just in standing. Nice to see you. Good. Just quiet in this balance, if that's possible. As soon as I say quiet, we might start to wobble nice. Good. See if you can feel one more cycle of breath. And then yes, come down, have a little shake out. So this time, Sarah, you just bring your hand immediately onto your breastbone. So that's okay?
Yeah,
okay, good. Okay, so after a little shake out, again, start by looking down at your feet. It's just reassurance. And then start shifting your weight onto your other leg and foot and taking that arm up towards the ceiling. So we're shifting our weight onto the second foot, coming onto the ball of the foot we just stood on. So that foot becomes lighter and lighter, and then we can pick it up completely, catch the top of our foot. Good. And then bring your hand down onto your breastbone. Just how is it to settle here and noticing what you feel. So it's an interesting day to be balancing with all this wild weather out there, especially in Brighton. So letting your knee drop, letting the breath come in, letting the breath leave you. Well done. It's some impressive balancing given the conditions. Come down and have a little shake out. So we're going to go to the back of our mats, and Sarah, we're going to come down through a forward bend and dog. So you just come out of dog when you need to. Okay. So at the back of your mat, you can bring your hands into prayer pose. I think you two can probably swing your arms without hitting each other. So we're going to at different ends of the mat. So hands in prayer pose, letting your breath come in. As you exhale, take your arms down and then up. Just be long and tall for a moment, dropping your shoulders away from your ears, and then you can start to bend your knees, gather your elbows in, coming down into another forward bend. And give yourself perhaps 2 or 3 breaths in this forward bend. Again, you could have your elbows on your thighs, and noticing how does your lower back feel. That's nice. How do the backs of your legs feel? And in your own time from here, you're going to be walking your hands forwards into dog. And Sarah, if it doesn't feel right to do that, then you just go, yes. So did that walking forwards just aggravate?
Yeah, it's particularly stiff and sore this morning. It's a lot better yesterday. I don't know what's going on.
So what you could do instead of at this point is come down through a squat.
Okay.
We do it again, okay? And yeah, so have a few breaths in dog pose, and Sarah will be coming on to hands and knees then. So, but you could just do a little twist maybe in kneeling, perhaps would be good. Yeah. So in pose, having a couple of breaths, bending your knees as much as you like. Good. That's nice. Well done. Good. And then from dog pose, you're going to come down onto hands and knees. So hands and knees, okay?
Yeah, that's actually quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, good. So on hands and knees, we're going to do our cat movements, and we're going to do a bit of tail wagging. So you can mix these things up as much as you like. So I tend to start with cat. I tend to not mix them up that much. My brain can't really cope with it. But so Hilary, I know that you like to do all these sort of circling movements here, adding movements together. But I tend to start quite simply, rounding and dipping in cat, noticing how that feels in my upper back and the spine between the shoulder blades. And when you're ready, you can add in a little bit of tail wagging. So imagining you have a tail and wagging your tail from side to side. And you could also do the sort of swinging your lower legs from side to side. So if you like that version of tail wagging, sort of does it for you in a way. And you can also, if you swing your legs not too quickly, you can look down the side of your body towards your feet. Good. And in a moment, we're going to come to child pose for a couple of breaths. You just round your back to the ceiling. And then stay rounded and rock your hips back over your heels into child. And just find the child pose that's comfortable for your shoulders. If you prefer to be in kneeling, that's absolutely fine. Good. And wherever you are in child pose or kneeling, just let yourself have a couple of quiet breaths. So this is the chance to connect with your breathing. So feel in breath. Filling you, feeling the out breath leaving you. I was just thinking then, when it's very windy like this, I always find it much harder to connect with my breathing. There's all that air around. Okay, and then from child pose, we're going to come back onto hands and knees and come into lunge So stepping 1 foot forwards between our hands. That's it. Very nice. And as you do this, obviously making sure you've got your knee over your heel in your front leg, and you've walked your back leg away a little bit, so you're finding that stretch in the front of the back leg. But I would keep it. You can keep it small, Tracy. I think definitely, yeah. And just have a few breaths in lunge. We're looking for that feeling we all know of just giving the weight of our pelvis to the ground and just trying to settle here to again connect with the breath. That's it. So I tend to just look down at the ground and try and feel wide across the back of my shoulders. I think there's quite enough going on here with just that focus of opening through the front of the back leg. We don't necessarily need to do anything with the shoulders and the upper back. Let's have another cycle of breath. So let the breath come in, let the breath leave you. And then untuck your back toes and just ease yourself back. So keep your chest close to your thighs. You might walk your hands a bit. That's a dollar and look back behind you. Good. And then we'll do the other side of lunge. So let's turn around. Turn that. So different views. So you've got your other foot stepped forwards and you're walking your back leg away. Good. Settling yourself into side 2 of lunge. So again, we've got that feeling of our knee over our heel and our front leg. We can give the weight of our pelvis down to the ground. We can try and be soft and relaxed through the shoulders. So again, with that, that's nice. That's nice, Sarah. So if we're looking down at the ground, we can just be wide across our upper back. And we can have a couple of breaths there. And again, whenever you've had enough, I was just thinking, gosh, my lunge feels rather stiff today. You can untuck your back toe. You can ease back out of lunge. Or Sarah, yes, just come into child. So we're going to come on into plank, do a plank pose. Sarah, I don't know whether you want to just miss that out or.
I think plank is all right.
I mean, it's like hands
going down.
It's like hands and knees, isn't it? Because
it's really weird.
Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
Right.
So that's it. So shoulders over your wrists. Make sure, Donna, you might need to come further forwards on your mat, possibly. So you're going to be lengthening one leg back, really stretching to your heel and adding the other leg in. And that's stretching into the heels, good. And see how your plank pose feels. My favourite plank pose, good, Tracy. Really stretch your heels back away. That's nice. Is that okay, Sarah?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, okay, well that's good. So there's always a sort of alternative to dog, really. We're going to now, yes, coming out of plank, don't stay there forever. We're going to hands and knees, tuck your toes under, walk your hands in towards your knees, come up onto the balls of your feet. So you could do a little bit of rocking here on the balls of your feet and you could spread your toes out a bit. We're going to come back into a forward bend from here in a moment. You could just do a little bit of rocking forwards and back. Yeah, that's it, very nice. So from here, when you're ready, you're going to send your heels down to the floor and you're going to send your sit bones up to the ceiling so you come into a forward bend. And you might like to rest your elbows on your thighs or you might just like to let your arms release. And from here, we'll roll up into standing in a moment. So if you can touch the backs of your hands together and roll up like that, you could do. If you need to walk your hands up your thighs, that's also fine. So we can roll all the way up. That's it. Be sort of long and tall and then take our arms in a big circle. Good. Lovely. And then have a little shake out. How are we doing temperature-wise? Sarah's obviously. Is it too warm?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Tracy, will have you.
I'm good.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. It's working all right, temperature-wise. So what I'd like you to do is organise yourself so you've got your feet side by side with a little distance between them and enough work on that. And then we can do this rocking forwards and back. That's it, shifting our weight into our front foot. We come onto the ball of the back foot, shifting our weight onto the heel of the front foot. Yeah. Oh, and so just enjoy this little movement. So I just always find this is one of the things that really helps me to settle and feel happier. I was just thinking, particularly on a rather unsettled day. So really feeling your feet on the floor. And eventually we're going to settle down. So we've got our weight in both feet. And I'd like you then to bend your front knee. So your front knee's bent, your back leg's straight, and your weight is quite evenly balanced between the two. That's it. So you want to feel that your pelvis is settling down over your legs. And you might like to keep one hand on your breastbone, or we could take both arms up, and we're just going to let our gaze come up. So Hilary, in this one, you could, because it's coming into a little back arch, you could again sort of support your head if you prefer, or you can have both arms up, or it's one hand on your chest, and just letting yourself look up a little bit towards the ceiling. Good, good. And then from here, folding forwards, so you can come to rest on that bent front leg with your forearm or your hands, or you can fold further forward, so you bring your chest onto that bent front leg and you let your head go. And you just have a couple of breaths there. So we're in this forward bend with one foot stepped forwards and our chest or our hands coming close to that front thigh. Good. Very nice. And then as we exhale, we'll come back into standing, trying to really plant down into the legs and coming up without too much of a wobble. Good. Okay, come back 2 feet side by side, and we're going to then step the other foot forward. So I'm just going to turn around so I get a different view. Probably completely confused me. So step the other foot forwards, and then again come back to that shifting your weight forwards and back. Good. That's nice. So remember to have your sideways distance between your feet. Remember to have both feet pointing forwards. That's it. If you feel wobbly, it might be that you need some more sideways space. Good. Okay, a couple more times. Forwards and back. And then let's settle down, bending the front knee, keeping the back leg straight. So at this point, again, you can adjust your feet on the floor. Have a look at your feet. You want them both to point forwards, your toes pointing forwards. Good. And we'll do that same movement. So it might be that you keep a hand on your chest. We're thinking about opening through the front of the body, bringing our gaze up towards the ceiling. And you could bring both arms up. And again, yes, Hilary, it could be that sort of supporting your head in your hands, if you like. Yeah, that's nice. Lovely. Good. Have a breath or two there. It's not a particularly easy place to stay. Very nice. And then from here, we fold forwards, bringing our forearms or our hands onto our front thigh, and then maybe folding further forwards. Chest onto the thigh, letting the head go, letting the arms go. And give yourself a couple of breaths in that forward bend. Very nice, good. That's it, Tracy, just making sure it feels comfortable for you. And then as you exhale, you can sink down into your feet, try and sort of come back up without too much of a wobble. That's good. And give your legs a little shake out. And then we're going to come back. We're going to come back to our balance. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come back to feet side by side, and we're going to step the first foot forwards, if you can remember which one that was. It doesn't matter too much. It's not too much to remember. Just come back to shifting your weight into the front foot, into the back foot. And you can bring your front foot hand, you can bring onto your breastbone. So that could be our first thing. That's it, front foot hand onto your breastbone. In a moment, we're going to bring all of our weight into our front foot, and we're going to catch our back foot. So just like the balance we did earlier on in class. So we catch our back foot or our trouser leg. Good. And settle here. Now, again, if you need to move towards a wall, that's absolutely fine. If you feel steady here, you could then move on to reaching your arm forwards and reaching your foot back away from your bottom. So coming into that sort of further variation of this balance, and see if there's a place where you could have, yeah, it's really nice, really sort of reach your foot back away from your bottom. Yeah, that's it, Sarah, just you don't have to go anywhere particularly. And yeah, is there a place you can have a couple of breaths and then come out? And always with this one, so if you sort of topple out and you want to try it again, you can do. And then obviously we can come onto the second side. So have a good shake out of arms and legs. Yeah, that's, yeah, very nice. Surprise yourself. So let's come back to feet side by side and step the second foot forwards. And then just come back into this rocking our weight forwards and back. So we're just really trying to feel our feet on the floor. Again, we could look down and see our feet, see that they're pointing forwards, see that they're on the floor. We can bring our front leg hand onto our breastbone. So this is this sort of steadying place, Karmanadi, that can just help us perhaps feel a bit more steady and quiet. Weight into the front foot. We can lift the back leg and catch the foot. That's nice, good. And just let yourself settle maybe for a cycle of breath and the balance that we did earlier. Then, if you want to, you can move on, reaching forwards with your arm and trying to really reach your foot back away from your bottom. So you've got this sort of, that's it, forwards and back type movement. And if you like, you can let your pelvis turn to the side a bit, that's fine. Good. Just have another round or two. Sounds like a bin. Yeah. Lovely. And coming back down and having a little shake out. And from there, we're going to come to the back of our mat. Sarah, go down through our squat. Well, in fact, it might be nice for all of us to go down through a squat. That's what we're going to do first of all in practice. Let's first of all just roll into a forward bend at the back of the mat. And then from your forward bend, you can start to bend your knees and come down through a squat. And it's fine if your heels come up, but I thought it might be quite nice for the lower backs. And then from here, we'll come back into our forward bend and we'll roll back into standing just for a moment. So from your squat, so start to send your heels down and your sit bones up. And let yourself roll through your forward bend back into standing. And then in standing, I'd like you to do your standing back arch. So we did the sort of variation with the foot step forwards. So this time you could have one hand on your pelvis, one arm up, or you could be supporting your head. And can we have that movement that the pelvis comes forwards, very nice, as we look up. And Tracy just wants to, yes, keep it small. Yeah. Keep it small. You don't even have to. You don't even have to take your arm up. You can just make that connection. Hands on the pelvis. I'm looking up a little bit. Good. And remember, for some of you, it's good to bend the knees and drop your tailbone to help you with this movement. We're not going to do loads of it yet. We'll go on into a forward bend from here. So from here, if you're enjoying that, you can do more. But from here, we'll go back into a forward bend. And Sarah, you'll come down through a squat. Everyone else, you'll go from your forward bend on into dog pose. So we're going to do a little bit of dog pose and then coming back onto hands and knees. Yes, so from your dog pose, you can take your time in dog, but when you come onto hands and knees, you're going to come back to some cat pose and some tail wagging on hands and knees. So settling yourself on hands and knees and seeing how it feels to come back to these movements we were doing a little while ago. So rounding the back to the ceiling, dipping the spine down to the floor. When you round your back to the ceiling, if you're doing cat, really let your head hang so the back of the neck releases. Just doing some tail wagging movements if you like, or swinging your lower legs from side to side. And of course, mixing them up as you like. You can carry on with a bit more cat and a bit more tail wagging, but whenever you're ready to come into child pose, come into child by rounding your back to the ceiling. So you're rounded up cat, you look back towards your feet, you rock your hips back over your heels, and then remember in child you can take your knees wider apart, if that makes it more comfortable, and settle your arms wherever your shoulders are most easy. It's a child pose, or if you prefer, yeah, very nice tail wagging now. Good. And those of you who didn't join for the lying down at the very beginning, you might be pleased to hear that we're going to be moving into a little bit of lying down in a moment. We've just got a little bit more to do on hands and knees. Now, Sarah, you might need to adapt this a little bit. We'll see. So from child pose, if you're in child, you're going to slide your hands forwards on the floor so your elbows come off the floor. So Sarah, you can't do that. Come onto hands and knees instead. And then once you've set your hands forwards, come onto hands and knees. So basically, I'd like you in this long hands and knees position. And actually, interestingly, Sarah, what you might be able to do is that we're dragging our tail back to child and forwards and face up dog. So you can do the face up dog bit, but not the back into child bit, potentially. So that's it. So in this long hands and knees, where you're wagging your tail, pelvis swinging from side to side to take you forwards to face up dog and back towards child pose. How is that going back towards child pose a little bit like that?
I can go to there.
It's good. It's probably good to do that.
Yeah,
it's not
it's probably loosening it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not bearing as much weight as dogs. No. So yeah, if you can do a bit, that's really good. So perhaps do this 3 times. If it feels fine, 3 times going forwards into face up dog. And I was just thinking, often I find the third one I want to stay in and have a breath also, not loads of breaths. That's nice, Tracy. Well done. That's really good. And yes, when you've done this 3 times, or as many times as you want to, let's say within reason, we don't be here all day, you're going to fold back into child pose. Good. And then from child pose, you're going to slither forward onto your belly. Tracy, I don't know, how does it feel back being on your belly?
Okay, depending on what we're doing.
Okay, we're not doing anything very much. So we're just doing a couple of simple things. Is everyone else all right on their belly? Because you can have a blanket under the front of your pelvis. So slither forwards onto your belly. Have perhaps one hand on top of the other and rest the side of your head or your forehead on the back of your hands. And so all we're going to do here is a couple of simple things that we are wiggling of your pelvis. Can you wiggle your pelvis from side to side? And then once you've wiggled your pelvis, you can stop wiggling your pelvis and just see how it feels to have a quiet breath or 2 on your front. Can you let your heels roll out? Can you let Can you let your legs be really relaxed? Good. And Tracy, you might not want to do the next one. You might just want to wiggle your pelvis. So the second thing you're going to do on your belly is the one where you bend your knees and take the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. But I know that sometimes your lower back's not so keen on this. So bend your knees, take the soles of your feet towards the ceiling and tilt your feet from side to side. If you don't like that one, yes, you can wiggle your pelvis again. So let the feet rock from side to side. And I always find this quite a sort of soothing movement. I could be here forever and just sort of drift off. But from here, again, we could just let the legs come back down and rest on the floor and have a cycle or 2 of breath, lying quietly on the belly, seeing how it feels. And particularly when we're lying on our belly, it encourages us to breathe more, to use the lungs in the back of our body more. See if you can feel the back of your body responding to your breathing. And from here, you might be pleased to here, we are going to roll over onto our backs. And it's up to you. You can just roll over and keep your head where it is. Or if you want to put your head, I was talking to people about this last night, if you want to have your head up the other end of your mat, of course, turn yourself round so you feel wherever you're more comfortable. So yes, it's most important to be comfortable. And just let yourself arrive on your back. Perhaps enjoy. Maybe a little bit of rolling your head to the right and to the left. And just, yeah, how is it to be on the back? So rolling your head to the right and to the left, and then settling the centre of your head, centre of the back of your head on the floor. And if your legs are long, you're going to bend your knees and bring your feet in towards your pelvis a bit more, Sarah, I think. And then what I'd like you to do from here, so both feet standing on the floor, is you're going to fold one knee into your chest. And you could give yourself a breath or so with your knee folded into your chest. And then you're going to lengthen that leg up towards the ceiling. You don't have to straighten it, but just hold on to it somehow. So yeah, again, you don't even have to hold on to it, but usually it feels a bit nicer. You could give it a shake out. Shake out that leg. You could circle your ankle. That's quite nice with the leg up. Circle the ankle. I'm just going to give you a few suggestions. You could point your toes, point your heel. Good. And then fold that knee back into your chest. So that same leg stays folded into your chest. And lengthen your other leg out on the floor. And Tracy, if it's not good with the other leg long, you can bend your knee. And I want you to see then, what's it like to take that leg back up to the ceiling with the other leg long on the floor. And the other thing that's quite nice to do when your leg is up is to then sort of slap into the muscles of the thigh and the hamstrings, the back of the leg. Yeah. Satisfy without slapping your leg. Again, you can do a bit of it's very popular around here. Pointing your heels and your toes. And then you're going to, when you're ready, gently lower that leg down so both legs are long on the ground. And you could give your legs a little bit of a roll. Yeah, I always like it. For rare occasions I have a massage, that I always like it best when they do stuff on my legs. So that's a bit like. Yeah. So bend both knees now and stand your feet on the floor again. And you're going to fold the other leg into your chest. So this is the leg that didn't go up to the ceiling, hopefully, if we didn't get too confused. So fold your knee into your chest. So keep the other foot standing on the floor and take your leg up to the ceiling. So it's the first time. We could shake the leg out. And again, there's anything you feel drawn to doing. You could circle your ankle. You could point your toes, point your heels. So yeah, whatever feels good in that leg. And support that leg if you like. Really whatever works for you. It's just nice to have the leg up. And then if you fold your knee back into your chest, you can lengthen the other leg out on the floor. Good. And just let that leg settle down. And then when you're ready, see how it feels to take the leg back up towards the ceiling. And this is where you can slap it if you like. Popular slapping the leg. Or circle, point the toes, point the heel. Good. And then both legs, when you're ready, can be long on the ground again. And just see, you can leave your legs long if you're comfortable there, but if it's better for you to bend your knees, then bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And just let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. Feel the length of your body on the ground. So we're still lying down the, I hope you're still with us, good. Internet was terrible last night, it seems a bit better today. Some of us did this at the beginning of class. We're going to cross our elbows over our chest. So you're trying to have one arm on top of the other. Good. Anyway, you look like you've not got quite got one arm on top of the other. So bring the bottom, bring that hand One hand's completely on. That's it. That's it. So that's it. That. Good. And come to a little bit of rocking side to side across your upper back. I just want you to see what's it like to rock across the upper back without tilting the knees up. So it's not going to be as pleasant as that, Hilary. So we will do that one in a moment. So can you just do the rocking across your upper back? That's it, with your arms crossed. Good. And obviously if you did this earlier, that looks very, very nice, Sheila. If you did this earlier, then it would probably be a bit easier here. Good. And then you can pause in the middle, maybe change the cross of your arms and bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. So now you can make it a lot more enjoyable by tilting your knees and your elbows and your head all in the same direction. So we're just giving ourselves this bit of a massage across our back. Yes, just thinking how it's that little bit of rocking from side to side, we can really start to work on some of the tightness in our upper back. And yeah, so for some of you, that's very nice, Alison. It can be a really big movement, or it can be a smaller movement. That's nice. Good. Okay, whenever you've had enough there, you're going to release your arms. So we'll do a couple more simple things on our back. You're going to fold your knees into your chest. And then I'd like you to bring your feet, the soles of your feet to touch. You're going to come into cobbler pose on your back with your legs, with your feet in the air. So if you can catch your ankles or your feet, and just a bit of rocking on your back in cobbler pose. Because we're going to come over and into cobbler pose. So soles of the feet touching. Where can you catch your legs? How does it feel to rock? That's it, to rock in cobbler pose on your back. And there's going to be all sorts of, but with your feet off the floor, Hilary. So that's it, that cobbler pose. I know there's two, so it's a bit confusing. Kate, you're doing cow legs, which is very nice, but yeah, I was thinking soles of the feet touching. You're fine to do cow legs if you want to. So I was doing that one, yes, sort of soles of the feet touching, cobbler pose. That's it, rocking side to side, because that's what we're going to come over into. So if you're feeling very adventurous, this is probably a joke, but you could do it. You could, from cobbler pose on your back, rock all the way into sitting up cobbler pose. But yes, leave it on you have to give yourself a bit more momentum, I think. So, it's a bit hard on the floor. So come to sit in cobbler pose on your mat. Maybe face the long edge of your mat. And you could lean back. Well, you've got an option. You can lean back on your hands. You can hold your feet. You can, like Rosie's doing, you can do a little bit of circling or rocking. We'll probably stay, because we're going to move into pinwheel and on into pigeon. And we might stay in cobbler pose a bit more in between sides. So I think just have a little taste of cobbler pose. And then we'll let one knee come on top of the other. That's it. And then slide the top leg back. And a little bit of circling here, a little bit of circling. So we're not going to be folding forwards in, pinwheel, because we're going to be doing pigeon. And you could, so Sarah, probably for you, it's probably nicer just to let your arms relax, but you could do this one in pinwheel where you give yourself a hug, cross your arms over your chest. And you can, I don't know, Sarah, it's up to you what feels better, the shoulders. And you can look down at the floor, you can let your upper back round, you can let your neck feel nice and long. And so a little bit more circling, however you want to do this in pinwheel. Good. And that's nice. And then from pinwheel, we're going to come on into pigeon. So this knee that's going out to the side, we're going to slide this knee back a little bit more. So I always think about trying to bring my knee back so it's sort of in line with the back edge of the mat. And then leaning your weight over that leg, that's it. Then, so Sarah, your knee looks like it's gone very far out to the side. And yeah, has it?
Should it go to the front?
It's more just straightforward. So yeah, not too much out to the side. That's it. And Tracy, if it's better for your back or your knees, stay sort of offside in your pigeon. So remember in pigeon, you can either stay a bit sort of leaning through your front leg, or you can roll your pelvis over. So you come, bring your pelvis a bit more left. And just, yeah, see if there's a place you can settle in pigeon and have a few breaths. You, of course, can play around with coming, up onto your hands if you like. So Tracy, whenever you feel you've had enough, or anyone, whenever you feel you've had enough, you can roll onto your front leg hip to come out. And of course, if you really feel that you'd like to do those sort of pigeon twists, which we sometimes do, where you're leaning into one hand and you're reaching back with the other hand. So I thought we'd spend a particularly long period of time with these, but if that's something you feel that you want to do, or even bending the back knee, touching the back foot. So wherever you are in pigeon, just having another breath or two, and then it might well be time that you're thinking, okay, I want to roll out. When we roll out of pigeon, I'm going to get you to take your weight onto your hands again and take both legs long and wide. That's nice. And then again here, exactly, it's really up to you whether you keep your weight back on your hands. Yeah, whether you, some of you I know quite like to fold forwards a little bit in this. And again, I think we'll spend slightly longer in this after the next pigeon. So just have a little taste of your wide sitting. So it could be leaning back, it could be sitting up, it could be going forwards. Yes, and exactly, Hilary, from here, we'll lean back onto our arms and then we'll bring our legs back to Cobbler Pose. That's nice. So this Cobbler Pose, we could stay here a little bit longer, so we could do some rocking, if you like. How's your back with these sitting things, Tracy?
Yeah, it's okay. It's more twists.
Okay.
And back bends. It doesn't
work. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we can do a little bit of rocking. What else can we do? We can do a bit of circling. So circling is good here. And you could, if you liked, do the ones where we do these sort of side lengthening movements. So again, I'm just, whatever feels nice. So Sarah, I think rocking is good for you. I'm thinking about taking your arms up. Oh, good. Very nice. And then we'll start to think about moving into side two of pinwheels. So letting our knee come on top of our other knee, sliding our top leg back, and a bit of circling here. So remember, we can be circling with our arms loose and free, or we can be circling, giving ourselves a hug, and perhaps focusing on some of that, releasing some of that tightness across the upper back and the back of the shoulders and the back of the neck. So you can stay as long as you like in pinwheel, doing some circling. It's putting off the inevitable of going into pigeon. Although if you're someone who's keen on pigeon, you might want to move on into pigeon so you can have longer there. So again, so Sarah, we think, that's it. So the knee, it's almost like we want this knee to go straight forwards, teeny bit out to the side, leaning our weight over that front leg. So we can reach back behind us with the back leg. Good. And seeing how this second side of pigeon feels. That's nice. Good. And so just be in a pigeon that is helpful for you in terms of whether you're a bit off to the side. That's nice. Hilary, you looked like you could take your weight slightly towards the bedside of your pelvis. Yeah. Maybe maybe not that much though. So sort of somewhere in between. Good. Yeah, that looks very nice. Pelvis, as I can see. Well done. Yes, and again, if that's it, Al, if you want to do those little twisting movements, it might be that you're just in pigeon, having a few breaths, hoping that it will be over soon. But it is, you know, if possible, we find a place where we can settle, we can receive our in-breath and soften. Soften as we exhale. So you can have a couple more breaths in Pigeon if you like. When we roll out of Pigeon, we're going to be taking our legs long and wide again. You see what my cats have done to these mats?
What have they done?
Use the scratching post. Because the mats don't come out now. They haven't been coming out. It's just the two at the front.
And nice mats as well, aren't they?
Those will walk because they'd scratched up the other ones.
Yeah.
So come back to legs long and wide. Otto, on your bed. Wait. Not that time yet. On your bed. Yes. So, whatever you like in this one. I'm just going to see what the time is. So, so I can see people doing nice things going from side to side. You can be doing things if your legs are feeling tight, you let your legs roll or wobble. That's nice, yeah. And stay there for a few more breaths while I just have a look. Okay. So, what we're going to do from here, you can carry on sitting while I take you in. We're going to do a little bit of rolling up. So some of you might want to go on into shoulder stand, which I've been doing in recent classes. I don't think we've done it on a Friday. We did it last Friday or not. What I was going to say is even if you don't want to go particularly far, you might just like to take your legs up. So really nice if you've got a sofa that you could start with your feet on. Donnie, you could be on the door. Sarah, you could be on the wall. And when I was doing it yesterday, I was just doing a little bit of rolling up and down across my upper back, and that was plenty. So Tracy, it might just be for your lower back to do a bit of rolling up and down. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be any more than this. And it equally could just be putting your legs up the wall or up on the sofa. And yeah. So Donnie, you might just want to shuffle slightly away from Sarah, just so that you're more in the middle of your mat. That's what I was concerned about. Good. So if you're using a sofa, it's really nice. Yeah, actually, if you're rolling up, Tracy, have your feet on the edge of the sofa, so you can sort of, you might need to be slightly further away with that mat. A bit of a faff, isn't it? So if you're using a sofa or bed, it's really nice because you put your feet on the edge of the sofa or bed and you just press down. So it's really like bridge pose in a way, but the feet are lifted. Yeah, and you've got your chair there, Sheila. You've got a good system. That's nice. So I would just roll up and down a couple of times and see how it feels. And I've been feeling very stiff in my upper back, and I was doing it yesterday and thinking, actually, if I just use this as a little way to massage through my upper spine and my neck, it's really nice without necessarily going any further. So perhaps roll up one more time, and then what I'd like us to do is just do a little bit of releasing the neck, and then we'll come back to a bit more rolling, and if you want to go further, you can. So just settle down where you are, and if you've got your feet on the edge of a sofa, you could just put your lower legs on the sofa or lengthen your legs up the wall. And then come to feeling the weight of your head on the floor and letting your head roll from side to side. So this is not when you're rolling up into shoulder stand. This is when your pelvis is on the floor, just letting your head ease from side to side. So the neck can release a bit. So that's one thing that I find helpful. So from rolling your head from side to side, then find a comfortable place to settle it down. The other thing that I find comfortable is then to bring my hand, or helpful, is to bring my hand onto my chest, to my collar, just beneath the collarbones. So bring one hand right onto that upper part of your chest. And have a couple of breaths, just feeling how the breastbone here can soften as you exhale. So it's really easy when we're rolling up in shoulder stand that everything here gets a bit sort of tight and held and constricted. So if we Feel how it can soften, and then we'll come back to rolling up again and just see if we can keep it soft there. So in your own time, if you like, you can come back to a bit more rolling. So bringing your feet onto the edge of the sofa or the bed. And keeping that sense of the back of the neck nice and released, and the chest bone nice and, breastbone nice and soft. Back to a bit more rolling up. And if you feel that you want to go on into shoulder stands, you can do. If you feel that you just like to lie quietly, that's also good. Yeah, how does that feel, Tracy? Is that feels nice? Yeah, yeah. So it can, you know, I was just thinking it could be really nice to use this as a massage thing. Sarah, I think it's really just good for you to enjoy. Okay, so if you go into shoulder stand, if you do bring your feet off the sofa or off the wall, it's nice to really stretch your heels up to the ceiling and sort of get that feeling that you're standing on the ceiling. Yes, and it's quite nice, Hilary, to have one knee at your forehead and to stretch the other heel up to the ceiling. That's quite, yeah. So if you bend that heel back into your bottom, the bent leg heel sort of folds in towards you, and then you stretch the other, that's it, then you stretch the other heel ceiling, good. And you can sides with that, that's a really nice little treat. It's nice. Good. Okay, so if you are up in shoulder stand or rolling up, and just finishing up with what you're doing, and that's it. I think we'll just come to a little bit of lying, doing some simple twisty things on our backs. So when you're ready, if you make your way, is it just me or is it feeling quite warm now? It must be warm.
I think it's quite warm.
Oh. Yeah, Sarah's got her vest on. You might turn the heating off. Vest's on. Hey, Tracy, you okay with that air? Yeah, still. Okay, so come and settle down on your mat. So lengthen up your mat. And Donna, we'll do, you know, I'll come back to doing this in classes. So we'll probably build on this in subsequent weeks. Yeah, so lie down onto your mat. And particularly if you were in shoulder stand and you didn't come out and roll your head from side to side, it would be nice to do a little bit of rolling your head from side to side. And yeah, so if you roll your head to the right and to the left, and then find a comfortable place to settle the back of your head on the floor. And then if you bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor, we'll just do a little bit of tilting of the legs from side to side. So bend your knees, stand your feet on the floor. Just letting your knees tilt to the right and to the left. So blanket, anyone? No, Tracy? You don't normally have a blanket, do you? So yeah, socks on. So any warm things you want to would like to put on. And I think what we'll do to finish is just do a little bit of breathing. So you can settle down with your knees bent or your legs long. We do a little bit of breathing, bringing our hands onto the front of our body. So I think actually just find, once you're settled, just find a place on the front of your body where it's comfortable for you to rest your hands. So there's no right or wrong place to this, just wherever feels comfortable for you. So it could be both hands on the belly. You might have hands on your low ribs. You might have one hand on the upper part of the chest, like we did before in moving shoulder stand. And just let yourself settle and gather your attention into the feeling of the breath in the front of your body. And we're not doing anything to our breathing, we're just allowing the breath to move through us as it wishes, and giving each in and out breath plenty of time and space. So we feel the breath come in and expand within us. And we feel the breath leave us and empty us. And just see, we'll just have maybe 3 more cycles of breath and then I'll ring the singing bowl. So can we keep that focus with that felt sense of the movement of breath in our body? We might be aware of that, the wind blowing around. Can we keep gathering our attention into breath inside of ourselves? And just take your time coming back around. There's no rush. Thank you very much. Bye. I'm just trying to stop recording. Bye, Sheila.